Welcome back and on to our next big conversation here on the Urban Debate, viewers. Let me actually begin by setting really the stage for what we want to talk about. It's a raging debate about racism that's going on across the world. The renewal of the Black Lives Matter campaign, from the protests in the United States to the outpour that we've seen in many other parts of this world. In India as well, there are some amount of changes that are beginning to happen. Our own kind of conversation about our obsession with the white skin, our obsession with the color of the skin, with fairness, and how all across us in the Indian society, we are obsessed with a fairer skin tone. It's everywhere. It's in your movies, it's in your songs, it's in the kind of stuff that's written, it's in the products that you buy, it's in the advertisements that are made, conversations that are held about it. It's in your matrimonial ads, whether it's in the newspaper or the new age, so-called new age matrimonial websites that are there. The obsession with white skin or fairer skin doesn't go away. In the light of all this, and as the entire world one more time talks about it, some of the brands are trying to take some corrective measures. So what happened was, if you haven't heard about this, Johnson & Johnson recently said that they are going to get out of the fairness product market. They have two brands, Clean & Clear and Neutrogena, that were selling products that were largely for clearer, whiter skin. The company has now said they will not sell these, they will not even make them anymore, and they will give up on this kind of a narrative. Then we also had one of the matrimonial sites that was actually using a shade card, a skin shade filter on its portal. They have now withdrawn that. Today the big news was one of the biggest FMCG firms, just like Johnson & Johnson, Hindustan Unilever and its parent, have decided that they are going to rename and rebrand Fair and Lovely. Fact of the matter is, if you really read what Hindustan Unilever has to say, is we recognize that the use of words fair, white and light suggests a singular idea of beauty that we don't think is right, and we want to address this. But what is it that Unilever is really doing? Well, they're not going to call it a fairness cream. They're not going to call it Fair and Lovely. They are now in the process of getting approval for a new name. I'm not too sure if the product actually changes for any of these companies. They may not stop calling it fairness products and call it products that give you radiance. Call it products that make your skin glow and clear. But everybody knows who's out there in the market and wanting to buy products, what it means and what it's intended to do. So are these cosmetic changes enough? Is this a good start? Or does it not matter at all? Because the problem in our country, like in many other parts of the world, is much, much deeper. It's ingrained in our minds. That's how the society works. If one of these companies stops selling Fair and Lovely or Fair and Handsome, will people actually stop demanding fairer girls for their sons? That's the big question I want to ask. Let's say good evening to the panelists who are joining us right now. I have Manoj Muntasir, lyricist, poet and screenwriter, joining us this evening. Kasturi, who's an actor. Also Hasleen Kaur, model and actor, joining us this evening. Kavita Emanuel, founder for Women of Worth and Dark is Beautiful campaign. And Harish Bijur, a brand guru, who also joins us this evening. Harish Bijur, let's begin with you. Is this a good start, or is this really just a cosmetic change that doesn't make a difference?
Okay, I think it's a good start because, a big company with a turnover of 2,400 crores on the brand called Fair and Lovely has decided that it has to change its brand name. But the key issue is it cannot remain just a name change. It cannot be mere semantics because the semantics need to walk in the market, walk into consumers' homes and change. And are we going to see that is the key question. So essentially, even this beauty statement, even this beauty brand name cannot be skin deep. It needs to be a deep brand name, a brand name that tells a story. At this point of time, we don't know the brand name. And once we get to know the brand name, I think that's when the real picture emerges to say whether this is a mere cosmetic change or is it a real change, purpose driven change, as opposed to an opportunity searching kind of a change.
But should I read this development to say that, okay, in the last few days, what some of the companies have said, we'll stop seeing ads that have those shade cards where you go from darker to fairer in 7 days and then suddenly you're getting a job, you're getting the groom of your choice. And invariably, it's mostly women. Some companies do have similar products for men as well. Do you think now is the time to at least stop that?
I think so because this is not the day and age for that kind of advertising. Fair and Lovely is a very old brand. It's a 45-year-old brand in this country. Started in 1975, and from then on, if you track the history of advertising, you will see all kinds of pieces of advertising having fallen into place. And I think as times evolved, as people evolved, as change hit the markets, Fair and Lovely has also evolved. Thankfully, the shade card, which used to be on the pack, showing the 7 shades that you would move one to the other, that was removed. So gradually, there has been change. This is a deep brand, a big brand. Changing habit is going to be difficult. But then the point is, dropping fair from the brand name altogether is a fair enough action.
What's also interesting is, Kavita Manuel, if I can come to you on that even a few years ago, and this debate has now, and this conversation and awareness has been around for a while, in at least in some circles, many of these brands thought, okay, let's not outright sell it as a fairness cream just to make you fairer. Let's just make it about empowering women. Let's say that if you feel good about yourself because you're glowing and you there is radiance and fairness on your face, you will get a job, you will feel empowered, you will get the guy you want. Do you believe that was actually taking it in the wrong direction completely, instead of at that point of time us abandoning it, like we should completely abandon the idea now?
Yeah, so that is where the contradiction is, so though this name change is a welcome change, and we at the Dark is Beautiful campaign, we welcome it, we're happy. This is like a milestone for the campaign that this has happened. One thing is that we wish it happened like 10 years back, because we launched the campaign 10 years back. And like you said, the brand has been in India for 45 years. And in a sense, it's sort of late. But we welcome it nevertheless. But yes, I wanted to actually talk about the fact that there is also this foundation named after the same brand, which, talks about empowering women. And we've seen those ads again and again. And again, my question is also, the fact that this brand has become a household name today. So what about the 45 years of damage and the wrong messaging about women's empowerment? So there should be something more than just the change of name. And yes, we are waiting to see, apart from changing the name fair, what else are we going to see in terms of, is it going to be brightening, whitening, lightening, or none of it? Is there going to be none of those words attached to the brand as well? So we welcome it, but we're also waiting to see what more will happen. And we also want to know what has led to this, and will there be any change in the direction of kind of negating those toxic messages that have gone on through the foundation, saying women's empowerment, fair and lovely. They kind of contradict each other. So.
Yeah, okay. Let me bring in Kasturi on this. Kasturi, taking it beyond the products that are sold on these shelves, it's largely the mindset. It's about everybody who is getting makeup done, to everybody who's hiring people for any kind of a commercial, any kind of a movie, song, a face to be put out there on a billboard must be fairer looking, and that's across the country right now. How do we change that? Is this a good starting point to do that?
Absolutely, well put. It's I was actually discussing today's debate topic with people in my own friend's home, where I'm staying during the corona period. And I was talking about why fairness creams are a complete humiliation of our culture and a de-recognition of the indigenous beauty of Indian women. I always say now it's not just women, men as well. Indians are every shade of beautiful, and this obsession with fairness has really twisted our cultural mores. And I was the only one saying it. Everybody here was saying, but fairness is beautiful. That is the ideal of beauty. So it is among educated people of this generation. It is such a deep-rooted sense of ideal of beauty that it's shocking. I never grew up with that. I never used a fairness cream, but in my industry, I'm going to be very open about it. There was an open bias towards fairer skin until you see it on screen. Because once you see it in the movies, you need, expressive eyes and talent. Skin doesn't really cut it after the first impression in person wears away. That's one of the advantages of being on the big screen. The big screen levels all skin colors, and really you need to emote to be an actor, and you need to be other ways of attractive to be a model. So thank goodness for that. But the bias is there. Fairer skin gets hired better. So if there wasn't this societal malaise, there wouldn't be a market. And if there wouldn't be a market, there wouldn't be people selling products to fill that gap. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, no fairness cream is going to make you fair. It's just filling the market for the aspiration of being fairer. And as my colleague from Dark is Beautiful campaign was talking about, they don't know why this whole thing was triggered. I'll tell you why this was triggered. In February of 2020, this Indian government mooted Drugs and Magical Remedy Act, Amendment Act, in which they proposed to get rid of all these kind of malicious, false advertising, which promised to make you fairer, promised to make you thinner, basically body shaming women into thinking being a certain way is beautiful. Now, because of that is why Johnson & Johnson is getting out of that business, because there is no way to continue selling a product without promising what it does. I mean, Fair and Lovely can be branded into another name. They drop the fair. I welcome that, but they should drop the product. What is the product going to do if it's not going to be a fairness cream? I want to know that. I'm really curious. So they are going to spend oodles of money in trying to reformat the product, rebrand the product, so that every woman and man in India knows that it's a fairness product, which is not called Fair and Lovely. So we will have a new word which actually means fair. That's what's going to happen. It's going to become like surrogate advertising for alcohol, where alcohol is associated, or even these gutka fun products, where you show lifestyle change as soon as they use the product. That's false advertising. It needs to go, and if it doesn't,
okay, you've made a very interesting point. You've made a very interesting point, Kasturi. And so before I actually go across to Manoj and Hasleen, I want to take this back to Harish Bijur. Harish, let's be honest about it. I mean, I don't want to sit here and villainize any company. There is a huge market. It's worth billions of dollars. They've made this money because there is a demand, like Kasturi said. Now, that's the demand. That's the mindset that has to be changed. If they're not using this product, they'll go for something else. They'll probably use powder, for the same benefit. The point being that this may not also be coming out of somebody's, a conscious awakening. There is a bill that has been proposed by the government, and this bill that Kasturi was also mentioning actually seeks to penalize fairness advertisements, ads about fairness products. So technically, at some or the other point, all companies will have to find another way of selling these products, perhaps by changing the name, by not saying it's a whitening product, but a glowing product, isn't it?
Tanvi, first of all, I'm always honest, and I'll continue to be honest with what I'm saying now. If you really look at the fact that there is a change, we must appreciate and understand that this is not a sudden change. 2 days ago, we had Johnson and Johnson, setting the cat among the pigeons and saying that we are withdrawing. Very good action. And HUL hasn't planned it 2 days after that, for sure, because these things take a long period of time. I do believe this is action which should have been taken 15 years ago, not today. But then, push has come to shove. I'm not sure whether it's because of the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act, but I'm very sure about the fact that it is all about being correct with consumers and honest with consumers. Because a big brand, if it is not correct with consumers, it is its nemesis. A big brand, if it's not honest with its consumers, it is its end. And therefore, I think this would have been at the back of the mind of Hindustan Unilever Limited for a long period of time. I can't get into their heads and think for them, but I'm sure it's been there for a long period of time. And finally, with hashtag Black Lives Matter having become such a big issue, we have had a man who was actually killed in the United States of America. And, it has really cascaded mindsets. And I think there is a certain degree of feeling which says that, hey, listen, guys, you can't swim against the tide of consumer thought and thinking. And you need to be not only correct, but you need to be politically correct as well. You need to be politically correct, you need to be socially correct. And in addition to that, if you're going to be economically incorrect...
I understand what you're saying. No, I understand what you're saying, but Harish, Black Lives Matter as a hashtag is more for United States and for Europe, people in Europe and consumers in Europe. Person who's sitting in a small town in the country of India is not going to connect that to buying the next lot of their fairness product, something that makes them, their sister or mother or husband or whoever look prettier, or is not going to stop looking for pretty, fair women. So, and I'm sure the companies are very well aware of it. It doesn't impact their business in India, really.
Let me put it this way. Companies need to be thinking about the future, not about the past. Because, the past is gone. The 45 years in which Fair and Lovely has done what it has done is all over and kaput. The future is more important because I do believe multinational companies think of the way consumers are going to, you talk about it, the way consumers are going to beat them with the stick of consumer opinion to say that you guys are wrong. So it wouldn't be correct altogether to dismiss the fact that politically correct brands are aiming and aspiring to come back into the country. If you really look at it, there are two kinds of brands. One that actually capitalizes on the opportunity. Actually, the opportunity is in fairness. And Fair and Lovely actually capitalized on the opportunity of fairness for 45 long years. And I do believe it's wrong. But in the 46th year, I do believe purpose-driven branding is coming by. And what is the purpose? The purpose could be a bigger purpose. The purpose could be an amorphous purpose. The purpose could be beauty. But the important point we need to understand right through is that this cannot be semantic wordplay or a semantic dropping of a word, but it needs to walk its way into the market and into consumer hearts. Otherwise, the brand is in trouble.
Okay, let's address the other part. One is, of course, about the brand positioning and the brand marketing, where we will all wait and watch how these companies handle it. They may decide to or not use words fair, white, light, whitening, lightning, but they may find other ways to say, even tone or skin tone or so we'll wait and watch how it goes and whether it actually makes a significant impact in their communication. But the other aspect is really the demand part of it. It's really what these... Yeah, Kasturi, I'll just come to you. Let me just go across to our other two panelists who haven't spoken so far, and I'll come back to you. I just actually want to go across to the other part, which is about the mindset and how this continues to be propelled, by the Bollywood industry, by all film industries, by all kinds of songs, by all kinds of matrimonial websites and businesses that run on that and thrive on that. Manoj, वहाँ पे भी तो बदलाव लाना पड़ेगा. आज तक 2020 तक हम गाने जो लिख रहे हैं या फिल्मों के डायलॉग जो लिख रहे हैं उसमें गोरी चिट्टी कलाइयों का मेंशन आता है और उसका जो ट्रीटमेंट है उसको उसी नजरिए से देखा जाता है कि हाँ ये बेस्ट चीज है, लड़की अगर गोरी है तो वो सबसे अच्छी चीज है.
Tanvi, I will answer this part of your question, but before that, I just have to set a context. First of all, the obsession of this country with the fairer skin has been totally unfair, and there are no two opinions, there are no two ways about it. But just pointing the smoking gun towards the brands is not addressing the root cause. The root
Correct.
cause is that there was a supply because there was a demand. And the demand came from people, demand came from us. Now the question is, कब, in which moment of weakness, like ages ago, 100 साल, 200 साल, 500 साल पहले, ये कब हुआ कि हमारी लड़कियों के कान में किसी ने फूंक दिया कि जब तक तुम गोरी नहीं होगी तब तक तुम सुंदर नहीं होगी? And why they believed in this theory? Why they believed in this nonsense? Because they believed. And let us not be very politically correct and let us just not try to ये पूरा मामला गोलमोल नहीं करते हैं, हम बात करते हैं इस पे। प्रॉब्लम उस माइंडसेट की है जिसने हमेशा गोरे को सुंदर माना है। तो आज आपके चैनल के थ्रू मैं एक बात कहना चाहता हूं, एकदम बेसिक भाषा में कहना चाहता हूं कि क्या स्मिता पाटिल खूबसूरत नहीं थी? क्या प्रियंका चोपड़ा खूबसूरत नहीं है? क्या सुष्मिता सेन खूबसूरत नहीं है? क्या रानी मुखर्जी खूबसूरत नहीं है? रेखा से खूबसूरत इस दुनिया में, इस धरती पे कौन हुआ है? दीपिका पादुकोण से खूबसूरत कौन हुआ है? इनमें से कोई फेयर नहीं है। इतने एग्जाम्पल्स हमारे सामने होने के बावजूद why our girls fall for this notion that being fair is being beautiful? No, being fair is not being beautiful. There is no guarantee of being beautiful just because you are fair. Coming back to the first part of your question, Tanvi, I have written more than 250 songs. Most of my songs have been love songs, and most of my songs have been very, very popular. But I take so much of pride in telling you कि 250 गानों में से एक गाने में भी मैंने कहीं गोरे रंग का गुणगान नहीं किया है, कहीं बखान नहीं किया है। And I am ready to apologize in front of the entire nation on the national network if somebody picks one line from 250 odd songs that I have written कि देखो आपने यहाँ गोरे रंग को खूबसूरत बताया है। ये बेवकूफी कोई भी पढ़ा लिखा आदमी, कोई भी आदमी जो थोड़ा सा अवेयर है, कोई भी आदमी जो सोशल सेंटिमेंट समझता है, वो ये कभी नहीं करेगा। So I have not done this and I am proud of this.
बट आपने कुछ नाम लिए और मनोज और मैं जानती हूँ कि आपने चाहे इस पॉप कल्चर में की टेम्पटेशन को रेजिस्ट किया। बहुत लोग नहीं करते हैं, जो पॉप कल्चर बन गया है, जैसे गाने लिखे जाते हैं, जैसे हम लोग बातचीत करते हैं, जैसे कि लोग घरों में बात करते हैं कि वो देखा कितनी सुंदर है, कितनी गोरी है। यही है हमारी प्रॉब्लम, हमारी स्टार्टिंग ही यहीं से होती है। बट इवन द बिगेस्ट ऑफ द सेलिब्रिटीज, उनकी खुद की स्किन टोन जो भी हो, वो भी ये इंडोर्स करते हैं। मैं अगर लिस्ट खोलूं किस किस ने फेयरनेस प्रोडक्ट के एड्स बनाए हैं या उसको प्रमोट किया है, तो उसमें दीपिका पादुकोण भी आएंगी, प्रियंका चोपड़ा भी आएंगी, शाहरुख खान, कटरीना कैफ, शाहिद कपूर, ऐश्वर्या राय, जॉन अब्राहम, ऋतिक रोशन, मामूटी, सूर्या, विराट कोहली, सिद्धार्थ मल्होत्रा। Some of them later on realized, जब उनको बैकलैश मिला, जब उनकी पब्लिसिटी में प्रॉब्लम हुई, तो उन्होंने कहा ठीक है अब हम नहीं करेंगे। बट कहीं ना कहीं सभी लोग इस पॉप कल्चर को एंडोर्स करते हैं, ऐसा क्यों? Why are they not able to resist the way you resisted?
तन्वी, सही और गलत की जो परिभाषाएं हैं वो टाइम के साथ बदलती रहती है। अगर आप 100 साल पहले की ह्यूमन हिस्ट्री देखें तो 100 साल पहले बहुत सारी ऐसी प्रैक्टिसेस थी जो बहुत जायज थी, जो बहुत नॉर्मल थी, बहुत कॉमन थी, लेकिन आज वो अपराध की श्रेणी में आती है। चलिए हम शुरू करते हैं। अगर हम हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट में जाते हैं तो हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट में मल्टीपल बीवियां रखना पहले गलत था, मतलब पहले सही माना जाता था, आज गलत माना गया है। ऐसे हम प्रोग्रेस करते हैं एज अ सोसाइटी। चाइल्ड लेबर का पहले कोई बड़ा इतना हवा नहीं था, बाद में ये समझ में आया कि चाइल्ड लेबर इज नॉट फेयर, उसको भी अबॉलिश किया गया। 50 चीजें हैं। तो ये मैं समझता हूं कि सोसाइटी प्रोग्रेस करती है, सोसाइटी सीखती है, समझती है, अपनी कमियों से सीखती है। एक जमाना था जब हम आज महाभारत देखते हैं या रामायण देखते हैं तो किसी स्त्री का हरण कर लेना इट यूज्ड टू बी अ वैलर की चीज, बहादुरी की, वीरता की चीज। आज ये अपराध है। तो मैं किसी की बुराई आलोचना ना करते हुए ये समझता हूं कि अब अगर हमारे स्टार्स ने ये बात समझ ली है कि वो जो एंडोर्स कर रहे थे वो चीज सही नहीं थी, तो लेट अस नॉट कंडेम देम इन रेट्रोस्पेक्ट। व्हाट दे डिड, लेट्स फॉरगेट इट। अगर आज के बाद वो इस गलत प्रैक्टिस में, एक मेलाइस वाली प्रैक्टिस में इन्वॉल्व नहीं होते हैं, वी शुड अपलॉड देम।
हाँ, अगर आज के बाद नहीं होते हैं सो दैट्स गुड, बट इसीलिए मैंने, और आप सही कह रहे हैं, हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि जो 100 साल पहले था वो आज अगर बदल गया है उसके बारे में हमारा थॉट प्रोसेस, तो हम उनको 100 साल पहले की चीज को कंडेम करें. इनफैक्ट जब हम भी इसके लिए लिस्ट बना रहे थे, गानों की लिस्ट बना रहे थे, और मैं मेरी टीम के साथ ये डिस्कशन कर रही थी, मैंने बोला कि हम जो 70s में गाने लिखे गए हैं या 90s तक में गाने लिखे गए हैं, अर्ली 2000s में लिखे गए हैं या डायलॉग्स लिखे गए हैं, हमें उनको रेफर नहीं करना चाहिए. वो जमाना अलग था, तब अवेयरनेस कम थी, सोचना अलग था, उसको आज से कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते. बट आज भी इंडस्ट्री में हमारे पॉप कल्चर में ये अभी भी थ्राइव करता है. द फैक्ट कि इतना बड़ा ये फेयरनेस प्रोडक्ट्स का मार्केट है और उनके सारे ब्रांड एम्बेसडर्स कहीं ना कहीं स्टार हैं, वो अभी भी थ्राइव करता है. उम्मीद ये है कि अब ये बदल जाए. हसलीन, would you want to weigh in on this? Why is it that many people, while knowing that this isn't wrong, while personally also maybe believing that they are encouraging a narrative which is racist in its basic tenet, are still doing that?
First of all, I'd like to say that these brands, I'm not going to give them a pat on their back for having dropped a certain word, because essentially if they start advertising in a slightly different way and they give out ads and communication and they start interacting with their customers and tell them that they're beautiful in themselves, unless I start seeing a movement like that, just a name drop is not something that I'm going to applaud out here, because also it's not something that will make us forget our past, because I actually represent that. I've had a skewed sense of beauty myself while I was growing up, because I was bombarded with these ads, and people around me, including my mother, every time I have a skin tone that tends to get tanned very easily. So every time I would get tanned, my mother would bring me these fairness creams and say, okay, put this on, or she'll start giving me all these things so that I could get rid of my tan, because somehow I was made to think and feel that it wasn't right and I wasn't beautiful enough if I had that tan. But so this is, I feel that this is something which was, I mean, we're completely being scammed by companies like these, because what are they trying to sell us? Are they trying to sell that this is the only way we can be beautiful and we can be accepted in society? And I feel they should be selling something else completely. Beauty is something which your skin color should not decide at all. I mean, if there's any problem, are they going to do it tomorrow under the garb of something else? There are brands already which are selling things like more brightness or anti-aging or anti-wrinkle. Like, we're made to feel if we have darker skin, it's bad. If you are aging, it's bad. If we're getting wrinkles, it's bad. But why aren't we made to celebrate the fact that we are a certain way? We are genetically predisposed to being a certain skin color, and that is absolutely fine. And nothing can actually change that. You're actually scamming people. You're making them pay for a product which is going to do nothing. Those fairness creams that my mother had given, thankfully she's undergone a change of mindset. But you know, those fairness creams did absolutely nothing for me. Yeah. And why was I made to think? And on the contrary, it's so funny that I dealt with so much confusion and a crisis in between, because when I entered the world of modeling actually celebrates darker skin tone as well. So if I would ever get a tan during a shoot and I would go for another shoot, the makeup artist or stylist, somebody would look at my skin and be like, oh my God, I love that bronze color on you. Because around that time, fashion brands in India were following a lot of Western brands, and Western brands were looking up to, you know, we've always followed the West. And the West was actually looking at bronzer skin tones and a lot of bronzing and all of that. And black women were coming out, and, you know, all sorts of skin color being appreciated. So around that time when I'd started modeling, people were like, oh, you got a tan and it's great. But I would go back to where I was actually brought up, or my society and all that. And people would look at me and be like, oh, it's not right. Can you put something on, and can you look a little brighter? So this is something which is going to happen through a whole lot of other advertising tactics, or whatever you may call it, that these companies would have to come up with, because they're just going to churn things around and display them in a slightly different way. Like, there are brightness serums all over. Why are they telling us that we need to start putting on vitamin C on our face to brighten our faces up? Why isn't it more about, why aren't we advertising things like, you know, your overall health of your skin needs to be better? Why are we talking about losing elasticity as you grow older and aging is bad? Like, that is something I would never tell my mother or anything, because I think her wrinkles are beautiful and she's aging gracefully. I'm aging gracefully. I have crow feet already, but you know, these are not the things that we need to be teaching our...
Okay, so Hasleen, let me take this point. And before I go to Kasturi, because I know she wants to add to this, I just want to quickly check with Harish Bijur before he leaves the conversation. Harish, to what extent can we put this onus on brands and their communication and their advertising strategy? They're going to make products and they're going to sell these products. Can we really then, start telling them, okay, not fairness, not anti-aging, not any beauty product, because everybody may have a different definition of beauty. Is that expecting too much from people who are out there just to make money out of beauty products?
No, I don't think it's certainly expecting too much, Tanvi, because at the end of the day, we are consumers. And consumers actually partake of products that are put together by companies. So consumers must dictate what needs to be sold. But there are four entities out here. The first is the manufacturer and the marketer. In this case, it is HUL. It could be a Johnson & Johnson. The second is the brand endorser. And the third is the consumer, who is a passive consumer. And the fourth is a consumer who is actually an active consumer. The active consumer is the activist consumer. And therefore, the most vocal of the lot of consumers is the active consumer. Listening to the active consumer is an imperative for brands, because this is where messaging comes upwards. And passive consumers just don't talk. Passive consumers just sit back. So if you really look at it, I think generations have passed. Consumers themselves have had a latent intent of wanting fairness in this country. Sadly, I don't know why, a very false sense of it. And in come brands which link beauty with that fairness. So I think the beauty fairness brands that are in the market are definitely to be, given the credit, oblique discredit of creating, nurturing, and even fanning some of these thoughts. But then there's always a time to repent. And I think the time of repentance has come today. And of course, the last word I want to leave before I go is simply that picture abhi baki hai. My Hindi is terrible. Picture abhi baki hai. The real story will come out when the new brand name is actually announced. And I think we could debate it once after that's done. Thank you.
Okay, picture abhi baki hai, says Harish Bijur, and we'll perhaps wait and watch what happens when the new brand name comes out, because that Unilever didn't announce today. But I just want to say this, viewers, just for this conversation point, that because Johnson & Johnson, which is a major player, and you may not know what products they make, but the brands like Neutrogena and Clean and Clear, and they say they're getting out of the fairness category, that puts a lot of pressure on their competitors, because now everybody is going to go running to a Garnier and a L'Oreal and a Hindustan Unilever to ask them कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं, आप भी क्या fairness creams या fairness products और gel और ये सब बेचेंगे, अभी आपके competitor ने तो बंद कर दिया. But also keep in mind that there is actually a government regulation that has been proposed that bans companies from advertising these. That bill hasn't been passed yet, but at some point it will become a reality. And then the companies have to move and find other ways of either not selling these products or selling them with a different kind of narrative, which is why perhaps I agree with when Harish Bijur says, picture abhi baki hai. Kasturi wanted to make a point. Go ahead, Kasturi.
This is a direct follow-up to Hasleen's input about celebrating darkness, and dusky skin is actually a unique selling point on the ramp and in several sports and swimsuit-related shoots. You know, they go for the bronze look. So it's considered beautiful in many parts of the world. So the problem with the Indian psyche is that fairness has been the singular aspirational goal that for 45 years people have milked it literally, with actually ads of saffron and milk thrown in to fair measure. If it were like coloring of hair, where it is a choice, you have dark hair and you have purple hair and you have blue hair, and that's the product. Or if it's like, curling straight hair or straightening curly hair, that's innocuous enough. But when you say you're dark and these were the advertisements, I think, that added and snowballed into what we're facing today, where you start by making it a lifestyle and a success formula. You're dark, you won't get hired. You're fair, you're going to get hired. These kind of falsities over decades and decades have have engineered the sense that if your skin color in some way impacts you as a person. I think that has been the fallout of all this,
Okay.
all these fairness creams trying for different ways of empowering women, is that they've actually added to body shaming women, number one. And I do agree that the market was not created by them, but the whole lifestyle angle that they added to it to legitimize the sale of fair skin, I think that's where the rots kind of started. Today, now we have already, I was thinking of all the words that they are going to substitute instead of fair. There's already in the market, there's radiant, there's glow, there's clean, there's shine, there's blemish free, there's glass, there's glassy skin, there's doll skin, there's ceramic skin, whatever. You name it, you have it. You have Korean brands that are being imported with surefire success rates on them. So it's a mess out there. And when Harishji said,
Okay,
it's
so
all
I want to take
politically
this
correct,
point further. Yeah, this is the point I want to take further from what Kasturi said. One part is the demand, the society mindset, how we are ingrained for decades and decades, and how what we want to buy as consumers, what we want to watch, what we want to sing, what we relate to. And the other part is who are the people, who are the entities or institutions who are riding this wave and endorsing or encouraging or deepening this kind of a narrative. Manoj, what इसमें बैलेंस कहाँ से क्या आता है? क्या लोगों की गलती है? Are people responsible because this is what they believe and this is what they want and they ask for? Or does the other side have a bigger responsibility of saying कि नहीं ये नहीं है? I will show you the mirror and I will tell you that this is what it is. चाहे वो फिल्म इंडस्ट्री हो या एड इंडस्ट्री हो या प्रोडक्ट्स हो मार्केट में, उनकी कहाँ तक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है ये नैरेटिव को बदलने की?
तन्वी, इट स्विंग्स बोथ द वेज. मैं बार बार यही कह रहा हूं कि बैलेंस बनाने की जरूरत है. तो मैंने पहले भी बोला कि कोई चांस नहीं है कि हम किसी एक के ऊपर स्मोकिंग गन लगा दें और बोले कि सारी गलती तुम्हारी है. यहां हुआ ये है ना कि ये जो प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, ब्यूटी प्रोडक्ट्स, और मैं अक्रॉस ऑल जो लाइन ऑफ ब्यूटी प्रोडक्ट्स है उनकी बात कर रहा हूं, इनका सेल हार्मफुल नहीं है, इनको बेचा जाना खतरनाक नहीं है, इनका प्रोपोगंडा खतरनाक है. इनके जरिए, इनके एडवर्टीजमेंट्स के जरिए जो एक प्रोपोगंडा, एक नैरेटिव खड़ा किया जाता है कि भाई आप लोगों के दिमाग में ये बात फूट फूट के भर दें कि अगर आप खूबसूरत नहीं, अगर आप गोरी नहीं हो तो खूबसूरत नहीं हो, तो आपको गोरा होना पड़ेगा. गोरा होने के लिए क्या है? आप हमारा प्रोडक्ट यूज कीजिए. ये तरीका गलत है. इसमें मुझे कोई एतराज नहीं है कि अगर दुकान में एक शेल्फ पे ये प्रोडक्ट्स रखे हुए हैं और मैं इसको जाके अपनी खुशी से, ये मेरी फ्रीडम है. देखिए, आप मुझसे ये फ्रीडम भी मत छीनिए. अगर मैं गोरा होना चाहता हूं तो ये मेरी फ्रीडम है, मेरा ह्यूमन राइट है. ये भी मत छीनो आप मुझसे. और आप मुझे जज मत करो इस पे, क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम यहां पता है क्या हो रही है? प्रॉब्लम ये हो रही है कि वो हर इंसान जो गोरा दिखना चाहता है वो जज किया जाएगा कि ये तो मिडिवल माइंडसेट का है, ये तो आर्काइवल माइंडसेट का है, पुरातन पंथी है. अरे नहीं, उसको हक है यार, टू ईच हिज ओन. तो मैं ये बात बहुत पुरजोर तरीके से कहना चाहता हूं आपके चैनल के जरिए कि सेल पे आप बैन लगाने की कोशिश ना करें. उससे कुछ बहुत बड़ा मकसद हल नहीं होगा. इसका नैरेटिव नहीं बनना चाहिए, इसका प्रोपोगंडा, इसका एडवर्टीजमेंट बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए, ताकि आज हमारे देश में एक माहौल ना बन जाए. हमारी जो लड़कियां डिप्रेशन से गुजर रही हैं बिकॉज ऑफ देयर फेयर स्किन विच इज नॉट दैट फेयर. एक हमने सुना आई कांट ब्रीथ का इतना बड़ा हंगामा हो गया. ये आई कांट ब्रीथ तो इंडिया में कितने सालों से है. मैं छोटे से गांव से आता हूं, छोटे से शहर से. मैं जानता हूं वहां कितना बड़ा प्रेशर लड़कियों पे, मेरी बहनों पे, मेरी कजिन्स पे हमेशा से रहा है कि धूप में मत निकलो. अगर बताएं, गाने लिखे गए हमारे यहाँ कि धूप में निकला ना करो, रूप की रानी, गोरा रंग काला ना पड़ जाए. ये सब बहुत पहले से कंडेम होना शुरू होना था. अरे लड़कियां धूप में निकलती हैं, स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन बनती हैं, कबड्डी खेलती हैं, साइना की तरह हाथ में रैकेट उठाती हैं, तो हमारा मान बढ़ता है, हमें उस पर गर्व होता है. बहुत अच्छी बात है कि आप धूप में निकलें, आप रैकेट उठाएं, आप टेनिस बैट उठाएं और जाके गोल्ड मेडल जीतें और हमें प्राउड करें. आप भले उसके बदले में कितना भी अपने रंग को सांवला करके आए. We will feel proud of you. That kind of narrative should have been propagated, but which never happened. तो सेल में प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, प्रोपोगंडा में प्रॉब्लम है.
बिल्कुल नहीं, ये आपने बिल्कुल बात सही कही, और ये इसीलिए आता है क्योंकि नैरेटिव हमारा ये है। मतलब जो ये नहीं एक्सेप्ट करना चाहता है कि मेरी लड़की फेयर नहीं है, वो कहेगा कि वो वीटिश कॉम्प्लेक्शन की है, मतलब वो काली तो नहीं है, तो शादी के लिए उसको लड़का मिल जाना चाहिए, तो हम कहेंगे कि वो वीटिश कॉम्प्लेक्शन की, वो सांवली है, मतलब वो ऑलमोस्ट गोरी है, तो आप उसको उस कैटेगरी में डाल दीजिए। ये माइंडसेट को तोड़ना बहुत जरूरी हो जाता है। कविता, आई फील दैट एट सम पॉइंट वी ऑल्सो नीड टू कॉल आउट the entire business of matrimonial making and fixing these matches where your physical attributes to the point of your skin color, adding a filter to your skin color, and this is happening openly, brazenly. How should this be okay in 2020?
Absolutely, it's not okay. And we've been, as I said, waiting for this sort of change. Though we've written to some of these companies and brands, we've sometimes not heard from them, or they would say they have not, in fact, we had a petition against, Imami's Fair and Handsome cream. And when I met the MD, he said, we cannot take down the ad. So from there till, after 10 years, we have moved on. And I really wish Imami and Shadi.com and other Bharat matrimonials and other matrimonials also follow suit, and that is definitely required. And I just want to also make a point here. Harish mentioned the word repent, so that is something we want to hear. People who've endorsed it in the past, yes, we want to welcome the fact that they're not doing those things, endorsing those things anymore. But the fact, as I said, damage has been done is there, and we cannot underestimate the power of the brand because they are big. We cannot underestimate the power of a celebrity stock. So can they kind of even voice it? Why have they stopped it? Can they say, yes, we did it once, but now we don't want to do it anymore because that is not right, and we want to change it, and sorry we've done that before. So as much as we want to acknowledge them, let there be a sort of a statement from these brands as to what led them here, or statement from the celebrities who stopped endorsing, saying that this is why we've stopped endorsing. And I also acknowledge the fact that it is a mindset issue. So just because ads are going to disappear, for instance, if that happens, I'm not saying that the bias will disappear. It is so deeply, kind of culturally rooted, and it's become a part of us, So it is going to take some time to kind of address it from the grassroots level. But do brands play a role? Does responsible advertising play a role? Responsible business play a role? Absolutely, yes. And we should welcome that change, and we should, in fact, challenge and expect more such brands and matrimonials to, follow suit.
Okay, very quickly, Hasleen, last comment from you. Do you believe that awareness and that kind of, consciousness is coming even among celebrities? That yes, not only will I not endorse it, I will go public about it. If I've done it in the past, let me apologize. But here I draw the line. I am aware now. I understand this now. Let's not endorse this anymore.
Celebrities have started doing it. I think they've understood, because now social media has actually broadened the reach of their fans to them. So they have a lot more interaction than they had before with their fans. So I feel that some of them have taken responsibility and have started coming out and banishing all these things, and being very vocal about something that they have endorsed in the past and that they don't want to do it anymore, and that they are personally going out and helping people understand that this is not the right sense of beauty, and this is what you should be following, and not this. If I followed it in the past, please do not look at me. I should start setting a better example myself now. So kudos to all the celebrities who've actually gone ahead and said no. I know Kangana Ranaut had actually refused to endorse any fairness brand, and I admire her for that, because she said, I'm not going to endorse something that's going to tomorrow mar the mindset of so many other young girls who are going to grow up and think that, okay, this is the only way I'll get accepted in society. So I applaud the fact that some celebrities are doing it. But there's an underbelly to this also. I'm sure, there are a lot of articles online and on anywhere that you read that actresses have actually on the quiet undergone skin color change. Like they were a certain skin color before, and now they've become fairer somehow, or they've just become different from what they used to look when they entered the industry. How is that happening? We also need to address the fact that there is another side Yes, more than brands, there is another side business of cosmetologists and dermatologists who are also promoting the same thing. I go to a dermatologist myself, and I'd actually gone after I had a few skin burns after a holiday, and I'd actually gone to her, and she gave me a certain set of creams and stuff to get rid of the burns and actually bring back my color. So the idea was to bring back my color. It wasn't to heal my skin or to safeguard, the cells. That's what I said. The narrative. A lot of panelists are also saying the narrative needs to change. You need to address it in a certain way. Products are created to solve a problem. So if you have a problem, say if you have pigmentation, that's a problem. If you have scars or you have a burn or you have an injury mark or something, products and cosmetics should be created to rectify that. They shouldn't be created to change what you are naturally. Or even surgeons who are reconstructing.
Oh yes, absolutely, Hasleen.
Why should they be reconstructing noses until and unless your nose is absolute, twisted, or you've got some major problem that you've undergone because of an accident or something? Yes, that needs to be corrected. But other than that, it shouldn't be anything more, because that is what has added to the mindset. We were talking about matrimonial sites. Actually, when I got married, there were so many people who commented that my husband's fairer, his skin color is slightly fairer than me. So many people commented saying that ladka gora hai ladki se. So, the people who have this mindset, I'm not saying, they are also that byproduct of what is being fed to them by all of these advertising. I mean, we're flooded with advertisements all around us. They feed into that narrative all the more. I feel they should understand.
It works both ways, I think both sides feed into each other's mindset and each other's narrative. I get what you're saying. In fact, Hasleen, the other point that you made calls for a whole entire conversation, maybe for an hour at least, about the other work that gets done and what dermatologists and cosmetologists are actually doing. Now, again, I will say the same thing that Manoj was saying. It should be a person's choice. If they don't want to change something about them, they want a specific skin tone, specific look, shape, and they're doing it by choice, it's all right. But if they are being pressurized into believing that this is better because it looks more beautiful, that you look younger, that you look, more appealing because you will do these things, that I believe is where we need to draw the line. So I'm actually going to take up that point that Manoj made and let that be the last thought that our viewers also, think about as we wrap up this conversation. Completely out of time, but it's been a pleasure to have all of you on this conversation with all these different thoughts. Viewers, this is just one of the many conversations we'll have to have and a constant debate that will go on. But the choice is ours, and it's for ourselves to understand to what extent do we unintentionally actually also push this narrative. To what extent do we either turn the other way or join the conversation amongst our family members, amongst our friends when they talk in such manner? To what extent do we not call out a company, a celebrity who makes such statements which are based on very basic tenets of racism? It doesn't have to be an action that injures or harms somebody, but it is still unacceptable if you perpetuate a thought or a narrative that begins to impact lives of people. It's not okay anymore in 2020 to make young women believe that if you have fairer skin, by using these products, you have a better shot at getting a job or getting a better suit and a match for yourself. That narrative needs to change from our homes to the products that we buy, to the songs that we sing, to the movies that we watch, to the matrimonial ads that your families may have seen or go through. At every bit, let's be a little bit more aware and let's bring about that change. Thank you for joining us on this conversation.